So thanks for joining me here today, you guys. This is absolutely my favorite thing on the entire planet to do. So if I forget to tell you later, we had a really good time here today, right? I'm thrilled to see all you guys. Hey, Melissa, good to see you. Hey, Lissa. So great to see all you guys. So for those of you who don't know much about me, I'm going to just take a second and tell you why I'm doing this workshop. I created my own vision for my life when I was about 27 years old, which was, yesterday, right? A long time ago. And the reason I created my own vision for my life was that I was not loving the 9-to-5 gig and I wanted to do my own thing in a nutshell. And so I took an entire day, you guys, and wrote out in great detail what I wanted my life to look like in 7 different key areas of life. And we're going to be covering a little bit of those areas today. I knew that I wanted to work from home. I knew that once we started having kids, I wanted to be able to work from home and be with them. I knew that I wanted to set my own schedule and all the things. And so fast forward, I jumped into first the network marketing industry with a company called Arbonne, which I know most of you are familiar with. Because Arbonne allowed me to do all those things that I wanted to do: stay home, make residual income, earn the trips, be with my kids. And I went to the top rank in the company while raising my children and had a large team of people that I, first and foremost, had to help them write their vision on paper. Because I knew that if they didn't have a clear vision of who they are and where they wanted to go, they were going to quit.
The days on sale.
Right?
Oh, same one we got?
Hang on 1 second. I'm going to ask some people to mute because I'm getting lots of background noise. Thank you. So 10 years ago, I decided to create this curriculum, helping people get their vision out of their head onto paper so they could execute. Because doing all the networking that I was doing, I was finding that most people have what I call a someday plan going on. Someday that's going to happen. I'm trying for it to happen. I'm hoping it's going to happen. And that doesn't work, right? I see you guys shaking your head. You totally get it. So I started doing this little workshop, just like I'm doing with you guys. It hasn't changed much because it still works. And then I started coaching people who were needing help with their vision to execute, most especially entrepreneurs. And that morphed into me becoming a life and business coach for multiple years. I brought people into a year-long mastermind program that helped them not only get their vision straight, but help them create a business plan that monetized and make money. Because the second thing I realized when I was doing all my networking, you guys, was that most of the entrepreneurs I was meeting were running really expensive hobbies. They were the busiest broke people I've ever met. And so I had to bring them in to teach them how to create a monetizing, income-based, broken down in quarters, year-long game plan of how to hit income targets. So what's happened for me over the past few years is a couple of shifts. One is I lost my husband 7 years ago to suicide. And then 3 years later, lost my son to suicide as well. And during that time, my daughter had graduated from college, got married, and was starting a family. And so my daughter and I co-authored a book together in 2019 called Keep Looking Up. And she and I started speaking together about our story and what we've learned. And so we now are more passionate than ever, you guys, on teaching people why you need to have a clear vision and knowing what your purpose is in life. Because most people are drifting through this life, you all, and that is not good. So that's what brings us here to this place, is that I do this workshop randomly when I feel the need for people to really get clear on their vision. And I do this at the end of the year instead of at the beginning of the year, because one of my mantras is how you end this year is how you start next year. 98% of the population are going to wait until January 1st. They've already given up. They've waved their white flag. They've said, it's the holidays. It's not going to happen. It's too busy. So I'm just going to wait till January 1st to flip on the switch and set my goals and get going. Well, here's the problem with that, is that when you take all this time off, which now holiday season, you guys, starts now on Halloween. Have you guys seen that? Like Halloween, people start going, oh yeah, it's over. Year's done. Game over. I'm like, what just happened? Last time I checked, Christmas was one day of the year. I'm still working. So I've hit every major goal, every high rank, the highest rank, as a matter of fact, in Arbonne, I hit on New Year's Eve, 2016, right before midnight. I was on the phone at a New Year's Eve party with Arbonne, making sure that every last order went in. So I'm a big believer that you end on a high, because you start on that high momentum and your year is off and rolling, right? So even if you have to adjust your vision and your goals a little bit, you all right now, adjust it, but hit something so that you don't start at ground zero, because when you start at zero on January 1, it's going to take you 60 to 90 days to ramp up. Already you're behind the 8 ball. All right. So that's why I do this workshop. And there are several people on here who have done this with me before. And I wish I could see more faces, you guys, those of you who are hiding out. Because I think when we see each other's faces, it gives acknowledgement to everybody in the room. And so it would be nice if those of you who could come off camera could do that. It would be great. All right. So, I'm sorry. It's all good. We love faces. Marjorie, beautiful. Love it. So we're going to go through this workbook, like I said, pretty quickly, you guys. And at the end, I'm going to be sharing with you some options that I have for you to keep going. Hi, Jana. Good to see you. Thanks for showing us your lovely faces. Hi, Mary. Thank you. And again, I'm going to roll through this pretty quickly, but I'm going to make sure that we have time for the meat and the best stuff out of this, right? Hi, Lissa. Good to see you, my friend. All right. So one of my favorite quotes, you guys, the 2 most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. That's by Mark Twain. And I totally believe that. So today, what we're going to talk about is, I've already kind of shared my story with you as to why I call this Vision is Victory. You're going to start creating a little bit of your vision today, and you're going to be given some homework to finish over the weekend. We're going to identify where you're getting stuck. I'm going to be talking a lot about stories and blockers. And then you're going to leave here knowing how to take a great big 3-year vision down into bite-sized doable goals. So we're going to land a very big airplane in the next 2 hours. You guys ready? Great. If you have questions, I love interaction, you guys, especially the virtual thing. I would much rather being in a live room with you guys, but we're going to do this virtually. And I love it when people raise their hand, or I love it most especially if you get an aha moment. If you get a light bulb moment, give me the light bulb sign. I love that. All right. So vision for most people can be, yeah, I kind of got something rolling around up here. It's all, it's all up here. But what I talk about in vision is it in writing? Is it clear? And do you have target dates on things? That's the biggest game changer for most people. So when I stand in front of an audience and I say to people, do you have a vision for your life? Most people look at me and go, yeah, I do. I kind of do. And then I say, okay, if I were to ask you to show me on paper in every area of your life in great detail what you see it looking like with target dates on things, can you show me that? And 99.9% of the time I get the room going, yeah, no, I don't have that. So we're going to work a little bit on that. But here's why this crystal clear vision we're going to do, you guys, fixes just about everything, and why I call Vision is Victory. But I'm going to hit the 5 biggies right now. And I'm on the page now where you get to fill in the blank if you want, of why is having a clear vision so important for both your personal life and your business. First thing, and you guys, I could do a whole weekend workshop just on point number 1. It helps you, number 1, the clarity helps you set better boundaries. Put that word in caps and circle it, boundaries, around your time, your money, and the people you spend it with. Boundaries is a big problem. Would you guys agree for most people? They have a really hard time setting boundaries and sticking to them. Time boundaries, relationship boundaries, money boundaries, health boundaries, big problem for people. And when you have a crystal clear vision with dates on things, it's so much easier, you guys, that when you get presented all these things that people are saying, hey, do you want to do this? Or, hey, can you do that? You can look at your vision and make an easy yes or no decision, because either it lines up with the vision of where you're going or it doesn't. It's super simple. So all of a sudden you now have a gate. This is kind of like your gatekeeper right now. It tells you, yes, let's go do that, or no, it doesn't. How many of you guys know right now you need to go into the new year decluttering your schedule, getting a whole lot of stuff off your calendar. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Mary. Yeah. You know, when I start working with clients, it's not so much when I work with them that we're working on what they need to do. Usually we have to start working on what they need to take off their plate first, because they've totally cluttered up their lives so much that they can't stay focused on their zone of genius, the one thing that they're really supposed to be doing. All right. Okay. So helps you
Read that again before you go on.
Yeah. Helps you set better boundaries around your time, around your money, and the people you spend it with. So just like time, you guys, the other thing having a clear vision does is it helps you make better decisions with your money. And I'm going to talk right now about where you are investing your money. A lot of times when I work with clients in the beginning, I have found out that they have invested in some tools in their business that were a good tool to invest in, but maybe too soon in the business timeline. So when I do VIP sessions with my clients, which I did this morning, I help them lay out a timeline to follow of when to invest in certain things and when not to invest in things yet. So for example, you guys, I did not hire a marketing person or have a website for my speaking and coaching business until a year into it. Hang on one second, you guys. I'm gonna grab a copy.
Yeah, let's drink our coffee. Fine. Mike, moving to Tennessee, that's quite a change.
Yeah, my kids are moving there, and if I want to watch my grandkids grow up.
That's good. Good job.
Yep.
I get it, Mike. I just moved to Oklahoma City 6 months ago to be near my grandson.
Yeah.
I left beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona for Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Do
Yeah,
what
I'm
you
on the
do.
coast of California. I live a mile from the beach.
Oh man, see what we do? It's all about the vision.
Yep. Yep.
All right. So for example, what I was talking about, you guys, is that I did not invest any money into a marketing person or a website when I first started coaching, because I needed to make sure that I could organically bring in clients and make money. So just one example of how to put boundaries around your money. And the last thing, you guys, is it helps you put better boundaries around the people you're spending your time with. This could be the weekend workshop that I could do. So I'm going to give you a quick little exercise because it's one of the most powerful things that I have taught thousands of people, that when they apply this to their life, makes some of the biggest shifts. So what I want you to imagine is that you're standing on a stage in a theater and you're looking out into the audience, and there are rows of seats, right? Let's say in every row, there's 5 to 10 seats. So you've got that visual. Second thing is to make a list of the 5 to 10 people that you give the most amount of time to. And as you're making that list, you're going to rank these people based on how they make you feel. This is not ranking them as a person. This is no judgment kind of thing, right? This is just ranking them on how they make you feel. So obviously, somebody who gets ranked as a 9 or 10 are the people that you just cannot wait to be around. They lift you up. They believe in you. They remind you of your vision on the days you want to quit. And usually a 9 or 10 is somebody that's a little bit further ahead in life and in business than you are. These can be your mentors as well. On the opposite end of the scale are going to be the 1s and 2s that you get around them and they suck the life right out of you guys. Here's the thing. The only people who should be in the front row of your life that get the most amount of your time every week should only be the 9s and 10s. Anybody that is in the midsection of the numbers should be in the midsection of your life. Usually for me, these are the people that I see when I'm out networking. We have a really good conversation. We maybe share some ideas, but they don't take me up or down. Anybody who's a 5 or below, you guys should be put in the balcony. Anybody see some seats that people need to be moved around in your little theater? Yeah. I know this is harder than it's harder than it sounds. And so many people want to say, but you don't understand, these people have been in my life forever. And sometimes they're family members. And I get it, you guys, I had all of that. But I'm going to tell you, one person who's below or a 9 that's in your front row is affecting everybody else in the row, including you. Right? So make sure that the only people in your front row are 9s and 10s. And a lot of times people tell me at this point, I don't have those people. Go find them. They're everywhere. If you open up space, you start asking for the 9s and 10s, they'll start showing up, I promise. All
Or
right.
if you take out somebody from the front row when they're your 98-year-old father and they live with you and they've got some issues.
Yeah, that is just, you got to put some boundaries around your emotions, Mary.
Yeah.
You know what? I understand that situation and it's challenging, but do what you need to do, of course, out of respect and out of love.
Yep.
But you're going to have really strong boundaries around your emotions. Right?
Yep.
Get a whole bunch of 9s and 10s in your front row. And here's the thing, I'll leave you with this after point number 1. Guess who needs to be front and center in your front row as a 9 or 10?
Myself.
Yourself. If you're not a 9 or 10 for yourself, you guys, you can't be a 9 or 10 for anybody else either, right? So make sure that you are showing up as a 9 or 10. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Really great group that Mike is involved in, where we just met yesterday, called Grand Connection. So thank you for sharing that. All right, so number 1, you got this. Helps you set some boundaries. Any aha moments so far? Yeah? Okay. Number 2, it fills you with authentic joy, peace, and fulfillment. You guys, when you have a crystal clear vision of what you're creating for your life and it is real for you, meaning it's authentic for you, not for anybody else, you have just a sense of like a light in the tunnel. No matter what you're going through right now, you can have some peace over where you're going and trust the process. So anytime, even on my worst days that are totally like chaos or whatever, I still am at peace, you guys, because I know that I'm rooted in my purpose and what I'm doing. So I have a lot of joy, I have a lot of peace, and I'm feeling very fulfilled about what I do. I think that so many people right now are following a path that somebody else put them on and not knowing why they're not feeling fulfilled and always feeling anxious about their life, right? And always, don't you feel like there's always something tapping on you, like there's got to be more. I know there's more. I know there's something else I'm supposed to be doing right now. Yeah. Vision gives you that. Third thing, it becomes the anchor in all the storms of your life. So when I jumped into network marketing, so many people begged me to quit, you guys. So many people. The woman who sponsored me into Arbonne actually died suddenly a year later. She was one of my best friends from high school. I had a whole team of people quit on me my first year. Lost so much, as you guys know, the past 7 years. And I have to tell you, when people ask me, how did you get through all of that? I can say to them with 100% conviction, it's because I am super clear on my vision and why I'm here. It will help you get through everything. And one of the biggest problems, another problem I see with people, again, especially entrepreneurs, is they get pushed off track really easily and they drift. They're super inconsistent. They'll get started on something and then something in their life will happen and they'll unplug for a while and then they drift and then they have to come back. That's a really exhausting way of doing things, you guys, because you're constantly on a roller coaster. So on the days that I wanted to quit and stop, what kept me going was my vision is bigger than the wall. And it's attached to how I'm serving other people, because you'll quit on yourself all day long. Number 4, you get connected to the higher energy where everything you desire already exists. This is like a week-long conference we could have on a beach somewhere. I know you all are super educated people, so you understand when I say higher level, right? We have a higher self, a higher calling. And when you are plugged in your vision, here's what I know happened when I wrote my vision when I was 27 years old, you guys. What I did that day is I took the day off of work, and in a very quiet space, this was way before cell phones and all the stuff, with a legal pad of paper. Like I said, you guys, I got very clear on what was on my heart and what I really wanted my life to look like. Not knowing it then, and what I know now is that I was listening to God talk to me about what was really real for me and what was my vision, my purpose. Truthfully, you guys, I had no idea what I was going to do, what kind of entrepreneur I wanted to be. But so I wrote a lot of different things, but out of the blue, for the first time ever, on the last line of one of those pieces of paper, I wrote that someday I wanted to teach other people the importance of having a vision and how to goal set. I got connected to that higher self. And when you are connected to your higher self, you all the things that you are desiring in your life, the reason you're thinking about it and you're desiring it is because it's already there. Can you wrap your head around that? It already exists. The only thing that's keeping you from it is you. It's already there. We're going to talk about blockers in a little bit. And the last point, number 5, is that vision is living out your purpose and leaving a positive legacy. How many of you guys want to leave a really good legacy for people in this world? You want to make a difference? I know we all do. There's one common denominator we all have as humans, you guys, and that is that we want to help other people grow and get better. And the only way we can do that is we follow our own vision and purpose first. So many days I wanted to quit, Arbonne, you guys, when I was raising my kids. Thank you, Deborah. I can't even begin to tell you. And the reason I didn't quit was I knew my kids were watching me. And if I quit, I was basically giving them the license to quit. So we have to remember that it's just nothing about this world. This world is about us. Nothing. And unless you all are hiding anything, I'm thinking that we're all pretty well taken care of. We've got a roof over our head, food on the table, right? So we're here to follow a bigger purpose and a bigger plan. All right. So any aha moments? Anybody want to share an aha with me real quick so far?
I do. Yeah, I just remember when my wife was 8 years ago, my wife was diagnosed and she was in the hospital, and people kept telling me to go back to get a job and, stop doing what you're doing and things like that. But I knew that the job wasn't the answer. It provided temporarily for us to get through her being, recovering, but it wasn't going to fulfill the desire I had, that because I quit my job in 2010 because it wasn't making a difference in people's lives. Mm-hmm. And there was this desire for me to really, when I do work, I want people to leave and go, oh gosh, Mike, saved my life, or, really made a difference for me.
Yeah.
And so it's just keeping that at the forefront of my mind, that every interaction I can make a difference.
Yeah. So true, Michael.
Yeah.
Good for you for sticking to your guns and knowing what was right for you and your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. We're all 3 feet. Yeah. 3 feet from gold is so true, Deborah. Anybody else have an aha they want to share? This is all about making some, yeah, Barbara, go ahead.
Mine was more about when you did the exercise about, the people in the row. It was kind of like when you said, hey, you get even an 8 in there. It was like, yeah, okay, now I can look back and see that. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. And I've had to move some people out of my front row, you all. And I'm going to tell you, once you do it, wow, all of a sudden you're like, okay, now I totally get that. Now I understand. Yeah, great stuff, you guys. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so we're going to head into showing you guys how to write a vision. And we're going to talk real quick about some truths around it first. Number 1, and I'm on the page that said truths about vision. Everyone has one. It's either negative, neutral, or positive. Nobody here, of course, but how many of y'all know some people who have a super negative vision about their life? Their past is a mess, their present is a mess, and they think their future is going to be a mess too. It's always going to be that way for them. Neutral is 98% of our world, you guys. The most people are in neutral vision. They don't really see much changing. They didn't even know they needed to have a positive vision. They kind of see themselves at the same job until they die or whatever. Positive, of course, is all of you. That's why you're here. You are people right now that want to do better today, better tomorrow, and a better future, right? So we all have one. Here's the second thing. The universe does not care about what your vision is, but it does respond to it. This is law of attraction stuff, you guys. Whatever you're thinking, you bring to you. Whatever you're saying, you pretty much sealed the deal. So it's super important. Okay, my very favorite book, and I know you all know it, Think and Grow Rich. You know, nobody should get off this planet without studying Think and Grow Rich, because it's all about what you think about, you bring about.
Can you review the last two blanks there for me?
Yep. The universe does not care about what your vision is, but it does respond to
Yep.
it.
Thank you.
So you guys, here's the thing. Upside, downside. Upside means you can create your life to be whatever you want it to be. Downside is you have to believe that. That's the first step. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people right now believe that their circumstances, where they are in life right now, is totally outside of their control. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. There are life instances, of course, that are unavoidable. You know, obviously losing my husband was not something I brought on, but more times than not, what we are seeing as circumstances that we can't change, we can change. And once you start putting out different thoughts and asking for different things, you start attracting those things. All right. Last thing, your motivation is directly sourced in your vision. How many of you guys feel like you get unmotivated really easily? Like you get off track, you get started, and then you kind of, you're inconsistent with whatever your goals are, right?
At times, yeah.
Yeah. The key to that is that your vision's not big enough. Your vision has to be so big, you guys, on the days that you don't want to do it, that you don't feel like doing it, or you have something happen. Somebody said something to you to hurt your feelings, or like me, my first year into Arbonne, I came in growing really fast, you guys. I was super close to earning my Mercedes, which is a big deal in Arbonne. And then in 1 month, all 3 of my key leaders quit. And it could have knocked the wind out of my sails, you guys. But again, my motivation was not directly sourced in that. It was directly sourced in the vision of what I held for my family. Right? So if you find you're inconsistent, your vision's not strong enough, which is why you're here. All right. So we missing any points on that? I'm seeing you guys kind of answer some questions for each other in the chat, which I'm glancing at every once in a while. Are we good? All right. So here's the categories of life. And one of the things I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about is a new tool, a new company that I found in June called ULA. Some people on here are familiar with ULA. Probably some of you are not. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it at the end, but it is an amazing tool. It's a digital platform that you can take everything I'm teaching you right now here organically and put it into this platform that helps you create that dream life and helps prioritize your goals. It is amazing, simply amazing. And so the categories that they have you go in and fill out are the categories you see here. So they all start with F. Your faith life, whatever that looks like for you. Your family, your friends, your fitness and health life. Let's loop it all into one, physical, spiritual, mental. Your financial life, your field, which is your career, your chosen career, or your industry, and then fun. So those are the 7 categories we talk about. So on the next page, you see a funky little graphic, right? So let me tell you a funny little story. So when I started doing this coaching, and I figured out that people needed more help than just this workshop, they needed like hand holding for about 6 or 8 weeks. I brought people into a 6-week, once a week group coaching. One of the very first people that I coached was my best friend, who was on the call. This was way before Zoom, you guys. So we did all these on freeconferencecall.com. You guys remember that? And so my friend Dawn, coming out of college, had gone into the hotel industry and had worked her way up to being one of the VPs at Hilton. She had an amazing job, but she traveled 32 weeks out of the year, which meant she didn't have much of a life. And she was ready to move back to Tulsa, which is where she's from, so that she could be close to her mom and her brothers and stop traveling all the time. But she had no idea what she was going to do. And so when we were doing all this vision workshop, I said to her, I want you to draw what looks like a funnel, big circle at the top with a cone underneath. And what Dawn said to me, because she's super creative, she said, well, mine looks like an ice cream cone. And I said, oh my gosh, that's so way better than a funnel, because who doesn't like ice cream, right? So what you're seeing is your ice cream scoop, your 3-year vision, right? So what we're going to do for a minute, I'm going to give you guys just a couple of minutes, probably like 5 minutes. In those 7 categories, I want you to think about your life. Do you see where it says the date at the top? I want you to write the date as if it's 3 years from today. So it'd be December 11th, 2024, right? And right after the date, I want you to write how old you will be on that day.
Leanna.
After your age, I want you to write the ages of your family members, your kids, grandkids, parents, anybody who's involved in your life that you're allowing in your life, right? Anybody see where I'm going with this? Why do you think I ask you about time and aging? Anybody want to take a guess?
We're gonna get there anyway.
We are going to get there anyway, God willing. Time's going to pass, you guys. We can't stop it. 3 years, going to come like that. Right? So how do you feel when I ask you to look at how old you'll be in 3 years, or how old some of your family members will be?
Well, it's perspective on where you're going to be.
Exactly. So organically, every 3 to 5 years, there's kind of a seasonal shift in our life, mostly because of aging and lifestyle changes. When I jumped into Arbonne, you guys, I had a 2-year-old son and I was 5 months pregnant with my daughter. And my goal coming into Arbonne was to immediately get to the first level in the company in 90 days so that I could quit my job before I had the baby, get my son out of daycare and stay home. My next goal 3 years out was to get to a level in Arbonne income wise so that we could put our kids into private school. Then 3 years out, elementary school, 3 years out. You see where I'm going with this is that when we look ahead, we start to see some things that are coming in our life that we want to make sure we're prepared for financially, physically, relationally, all the things. And so a lot of times when I get people to look at this, they start to see some changes they want to make happen and some things they need to start working on now to make sure they're in that place in 3 years. This makes sense to everybody?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, and for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to give you some quiet time to kind of write, and you can do this however you want. You can write inside that little ice cream scoop if you want, or on a separate sheet of paper. It's totally up to you. But start thinking in those 7 areas of life, what you see it looking like 3 years from now. Is everybody good with the exercise? All right. I'm going to play some Christmas music for you.
Joyful all ye nations rise, join the triumph of the skies with angelic hosts proclaim Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark, the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn. Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the land.
One more minute.
Tempted reply, packed all in their joyous in excelsis Come to Bethlehem and see Christ his birth, the angel.
Okay. How'd you guys do?
I got something in every column, F.
Got everything in a category?
Yep.
I love that.
Sometimes only one, sometimes two.
Did you get a little bit more clarity, Mary, of writing it out?
I think I still need to work on that clarity.
Okay,
Because sometimes, like with the fitness, I said I want to be walking every day, which I'm pretty much doing now.
Okay.
But I want to lose some, weight, put a number there.
Okay.
In some places, I put numbers, but sometimes it was more generic, like under one, I just love myself more.
Yeah.
I need to get more concrete, I think.
okay, great, because that's where we're going next. By the end of this, we're going to talk about how to put some legs on that. Thank you for being honest and transparent. We appreciate it.
Mhm.
How'd everybody else do? I would love to hear for some people that haven't talked yet. Jana, how you guys doing? Mhm.
I did a little better than my other half here, Larry. I filled out things a little more than I have in the past. He's gotten stuck a little bit, so
I understand. It's all good. That's why you're here.
yes, it is.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, Melissa, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good. I got everything. I've been working on this for a while, so
That's good.
yeah,
Awesome.
expanding.
Expanding, good. I love it when people expand, add to their vision. It's great.
Yeah, I was gonna say, every time you go through it, it just keeps getting better and better, right? Clearer and clearer, deeper and deeper. Like you can't do it often enough.
I
To
agree.
keep getting that vision in your mind, get it down on paper and keep growing it.
Yep. Thank you, Lissa. You guys, even though I've done this for years, I love teaching this because it reminds me to go back and take a look at my vision and, yeah, get more specific about some things. So thank you guys for sharing. Awesome. Jana, where did you and I meet?
I'm one of Share Lectors
Awesome.
members, so yeah,
Okay. Yay. You're welcome here. Thank you so much for being here.
thank you.
And Nikki, where did you and I meet?
We haven't. I'm here due to Alyssa Figgins.
Okay. Love Lissa. That's awesome. All right, you guys. So here's the thing. This is just the tip of the iceberg with the vision thing. So I just gave you a starting point. And where you go from here, you're going to see the next few pages looks like a letter format, right? Dear so-and-so. Your homework for the weekend. When I do an all-day workshop, you literally get an hour to do this at the workshop, but we're not going to take the time here to do it. So you guys have to Scouts Honor promise me you're going to do it. Because if you don't, we're kind of like leaving it up. All right. So you're going to date it at the top as if it's 3 years out. And you're going to write a letter to somebody as if 3 years have passed and you have not talked to them and you're getting them up to speed on what's happened in your life. So for example, if we all left each other today and 3 years passed, and 3 years from today, you decide to sit down and write me a letter. Hi, Darcy. Good to see you. You decide to write me a letter in great detail, getting me up to speed. So it might sound something like, Dear Carrie, I cannot believe 3 years have passed since we did that vision workshop, and I have so much to tell you. I want to give you a clear picture of everything that's happened in my life since that day, what I'm doing now, and what we're working on for the future. And so you're going to write in those 7 categories, you guys, in as much detail as you can give it. So you take it beyond what you were just saying, Mary, of how it's, you kind of put it out there as you want to love yourself more or take care of yourself more. Okay, what does that look like? What did you do to make that happen? Did you maybe need to go through some counseling? Did you need to give some forgiveness to yourself or to other people? Did you need to get a personal trainer? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we've got to figure out, okay, that's that hope thing. I'm hoping that happens into here's what I did, some action steps I took to make that happen. If you put down that you're in the fun category, we're traveling more. Okay, that's vague. So give me a picture. Where did you go? Who went with you? How long were you gone? How did you spend your time? Did you go, because people can say to me, we traveled more. Well, my vision of traveling and somebody else's vision of traveling could be 2 different things. Because, I've got friends who love to go camping. That is not my idea of travel, right? So I got really clear on where we were going, when we were going, who went with us, and what we did. So you see what I'm talking about with the letter, you guys, is let's go back to the universe responds to whatever you ask. And whatever you're asking, if it's your heart's desire, that means it's already there. You are the only person standing in your way of you and that thing. And the more clear you tell God and the universe what you want in great detail, the easier it is for it to come to you. It's kind of like a lighthouse. You guys know how a lighthouse works, right? That laser beam of light has to go out so crystal clear that it reaches miles across the ocean for that one little boat to find it and come in. The more wishy-washy the light, the harder it is to bring that in. Is this making sense to everybody? So we got to be so clear, you guys, down to like the shutters on the house of your dream house, And I'm proof of this, you guys, that I had a picture of my first Mercedes that I wanted to earn in Arbonne. It was a 350 CLK convertible. It was on my board for 7 years. And the day that car dropped into my driveway, it was unbelievable. I've had people put on their vision boards pictures of a house that they kind of want to have, and they end up owning that exact house. I can't make this stuff up. It's real. So get clear, you guys, but here's the problem is that we doubt it, don't we? We doubt it. We don't think we're worthy of it. We are afraid of it.
I'm over there.
Yeah. All the stuff. I love all the goals you guys are putting in the chat right now. That is so cool. So that's the purpose of the letter, you guys. Write it out, don't type it, because there is a direct correlation between you writing something in the brain. It's more solidified that way. And if you really want to be bold, share it with somebody. Make sure it's a 9 or a 10 that you share it with. There's nothing sadder than sharing your vision with somebody that's not a 9 or 10 and they are thinking you're crazy. Be careful who you share it with. If you can send it to me, I love reading them if you want. If you are in a safe relationship that you all can share your visions with each other and with your family members, wow, is that powerful. You can do this with 5-year-olds, you guys. They love it. They totally love it. The way that I earned every single trip in Arbonne, over 15, more than 15 of them every year, was I shared the vision of us all going on that trip together, and the whole family was bought into it. So when I had to go into my office and work, I was left alone to do what I needed to do because it was team effort. Everybody knew. Boundaries. Right? Okay, so any more light bulb moments? Any ahas that you want to share with me before I move on? How are you guys feeling about writing this letter? 2 thumbs up. Thank you, Barbara. Is anybody?
Good. I've got a partial one already in several areas. I'd seen to add the other areas.
I love that, Mike. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
It's probably going to take me till the end of the year to write it.
Well, here's what I found, Mary. If you take yourself away for a day or even a half a day, you can knock this out.
Yeah, it's real hard with my dad right now.
I totally get it.
He was in the hospital Sunday through Wednesday, fall, almost died, and yesterday he fell again.
Oh, Mary, I'm so sorry.
Completely detached right now.
Yeah, I get it. I'm so sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, do it in little blocks of time. Do whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
So Darcy, just to get you up to speed, we just all wrote about our 3-year visions. And I think you have the workbook, right?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to print it out or anything, but I have it on the email. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, great.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome. I'm just thrilled that you made it.
Hey.
So here we are, we're moving on. If it's important to you, you will find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse. And this is the truth. And we're just going to call it out for what it is. So if we all agree that vision is victory, then why do so few people have a written vision statement? I'm on that page now if you want to fill in the blanks with me. Number 1, people blame all of their current outside circumstances. I can't do it now because of this. I can't do it now because of that. Maybe when the kids are gone, maybe when they're in school, maybe when I lose 10 pounds, maybe when I have more money in the bank. It's all always on outside circumstances needing to change. And you guys, I don't know about you in my life, and I'm 59. You get one thing resolved, and guess what? There's another thing. So you might as well put a stake in the ground and stop using all the outside circumstances. Hello, holidays since Halloween. Let's just drop it. Because it's always going to be something. We have to just put the stake in the ground, and your stake starts with your clear vision with target dates on things, which I can't wait to get to. All right, number 2. Most people need to know the how before they will act on their vision. How many how people do I have in the room that need to know the blueprint of exactly how this needs to go down before you write the vision? Thank you for being honest. I'm going to tell you guys, like the circumstance thing, just go. Figure it out. Just go. The how will show up. I promise you guys, the how will show up. I wrote the vision. The how showed up. I had no idea that Arbonne was even out there when I wrote that vision, you guys, and it showed up. And do you know what was so awesome is the day it showed up, I knew I had totally manifested it because it checked off all the boxes of what I wanted. So it was an easy yes. It's like, done. Same thing with Ula, by the way. When I got introduced to ULA, same thing. It was like, are you kidding me? This is an answer to prayer. This tool is amazing. So forget about the how, you guys. Just I have another good friend who's on Instagram. She's hysterical. Her name is Angie Lee. And she always says, and my daughter loves her and quotes her all the time, that, you know what, you build the plane as you're flying it. Just take off. Figure it out. All right. Third thing, we're afraid of personal accountability. What if we fail? But I'm going to honestly tell you guys that I think more people, they're afraid of what if I succeed. When people give themselves the freedom to write the most biggest, beautiful, boldest vision they can envision on paper, I think a lot of times it scares them. What if this actually happens? What if I actually get this house? What if I actually get this new relationship? What if I have all that kind of money in the bank and I can travel the world? I think what scares them is they're worried about that. Sometimes I think they're worried about the kind of person they're going to become. Like they're going to become some really bad person or something. You guys know that's not possible, right? Money does not make people bad. If you're a good person with the little money you have, you're going to be an amazing person with the money, because chances are you're going to do a lot of good with it. But I think we fear the success. And I think more times than not, when I actually do the day-long workshop and people write their vision during lunch and they come back from lunch, I ask them to share with me how they're feeling. And one of the things that they're afraid to tell me is that now they have to hold themselves accountable to it. Accountability, right? This is the big thing. All right, next thing. People use that they're too busy. They are overwhelmed, or that it's not the right time. Okay, so remember when I said to you earlier on that the first thing I usually have to do with my clients is get the busyness off their schedule. We use busyness as a badge right now in this world, you guys. Like it's some honor that we're all so busy. I have a coach that said years ago that her mission was to put a death to busyness. We do it because it's a distraction. If we keep so busy, we don't have time to go after our purpose and our vision and all the things that really matter. So then what happens is we get really busy, so we get overwhelmed. And what happens when we get overwhelmed?
We don't do anything.
Exactly. Most people completely shut down. And the last thing is not the right time, never the right time. Like I said to you guys earlier, it's never the right time. There'll be this, and then there'll be another thing. I stepped into coaching and speaking at a time where it was crazy. We were becoming empty nesters. We were moving. It was just nuts, but I knew it's what I had to do. So I just figured out an action plan. And the last thing, you guys, that we don't want to do is we don't want to, let me read this word. We don't want to own, it's supposed to say, we don't want to own our own stories. We don't want to we don't want to own the fact that we are the ones keeping ourselves stuck. This is the bottom line. So the next page kind of talks a little bit about what did you hear yourself saying when you were writing the letter? Where did it come from? Where was it learned? All right. So can you guys already imagine when you had the 5 minutes to write a short beginning to your 3-year vision? What were some of the things that you heard yourself saying to yourself? Sorry, you guys, my neighbor just scared my dog. Anybody want to unmic and say what you heard yourself saying?
Yeah, one of them was, how's it going to happen? I need to know the how.
Need to know the how. Great. What else?
Mine was that it was all positive. It was great.
It's awesome.
Mine was, I know this stuff. Why aren't I stepping in?
What do you think it is, Deborah?
I don't know. Vulnerability.
What do you mean?
I've done a lot of stupid stuff in the last couple of years, so
Yeah.
I just have to bite it and own it and fess up,
Yeah. Well, can you change any of it?
No,
No, that it's over, it's done.
right.
Don't drag the past into the future, into the present, you guys. It's just that's hard. It's hard to move on, Deborah, when you're carrying baggage like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Thank you. What else did you guys hear yourself saying? Yeah, Darcy.
I would I didn't do the exercise, but if I would have done the exercise, I would probably hear myself say, I would wonder now what I would be doing differently to lead my team that made it successful.
Okay.
So I would try to figure out those,
Gotcha.
that how,
What
and,
changed in you?
yeah, like
Yeah.
what would I be doing differently now that made it, grow and grow and grow and grow and be successful for the 3-year plan.
Gotcha. So some of the changes that you personally see making in yourself as a lead.
Right. And how would I, how would I be helping my team more than what I'm trying to do now that makes them successful and their people successful and so forth, as far as that goes. And how would I be sharing with more people? Who are those? It's kind of interesting. There's a lot of people in my life that are showing up that are, I'm like, wow, they're reaching out to me and wanting to talk to me. Why do they want to, talk to me? But I'm happy about it. We haven't had some of those one-on-one conversations yet, but there's a lot of different people that I haven't reached out to that, oh, I didn't think about you and your profession, but you saw the need to reach out to me to kind of connect. I'm excited to see where this goes, type of thing.
Totally get it. So
Yeah,
what's
so
happening?
I'm putting it out there in the universe, and then people are just kind of showing up. And so I'm excited to do those one-on-ones. I woke up this morning to a few of them.
That's
So
so
I'm
great.
like, oh, interesting,
Love that. Well, that just means that you are getting more and more clear on who you are and who you serve.
Mhm.
And you're actually articulating that more clearly so people can like that lighthouse thing come to you clear
Right.
faster.
Yeah.
That's so cool, right?
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Anybody else? Let me throw a couple things out that usually I hear when I ask this in a live workshop. I hear people, like Barbara said, this makes me excited. I'm seeing all sorts of positivity. I'm seeing some light at the tunnel. This is inspiring me to finally do this. And on the flip side, I hear people saying, again, it scares them. They doubt that it can happen. They start hearing themselves saying, this can happen for everybody else, but it's not going to happen for me. And I'm going to use my own personal example of my life in a minute to you guys. So what's happening here, and I'm going to go to the next page where it says stories and blockers, is we have stories going on in our lives, you guys. And stories come from one of two places. Either you got it passed down to you. So a lot of times we get stories from our parents in a big, one of the categories we get the biggest stories from is in the category of money. So how many of you guys heard things around money from your parents, like money doesn't grow on trees, people with money are not nice? We've all got some money stories, right? In my case, the money story was we work hard for our money. My mother worked 2 jobs. My dad traveled all the time. I mean, the message was loud and clear that you work your fingers to the bone for every dime you make. This is just how it is. So that story, when I started in Arbonne, led me to be the hardest working Arbonne consultant you have ever seen. I ran circles around some of the other leaders, you guys, but here's what happened. What was happening is some of them were coming into the company and blowing past me and working 1/3 of the amount of time that I was working. And I couldn't figure out what they were doing. I just kept working harder, thinking they've got to be working harder. And what I found out was they were working less and having a whole lot more fun because they didn't have the money story I had. They knew Think and Grow Rich mentality. of how to really operate in a thinking abundant time mindset and working, of course, you got to work for things. I don't believe in the secret, you guys, where if you just sit and meditate on it and stare at a picture at it, it's just going to drop in your driveway, right? You got to work for it. But do you see where I'm going? Okay, so I had a money story that I had to work so hard, and all these guys were flying past me and I couldn't figure out why. So we hear the messages passed down. Second way we build stories is some really emotional event that happens in our life that creates a story. Most of the stories that I have seen when I've done this live with people is when I've seen people, well, many of them, but when some of the people I see go through a horrible divorce, it just rocked their world and really rocked their self-confidence, their image, their self-worth, all the things. And they started building a story that they were not worthy. They weren't lovable. They were going to fail again in another relationship. So I had a story, you guys, in Arbonne. Again, I'll go back to that I was doing all the right things, but there was some sort of secret that all the other leaders were doing that they weren't telling me. Like they would all see me at a conference and tell me how awesome I was and what a great leader I was and encourage me. But I had a belief, you guys, I had a story that they would say that to my face, but then they were all running off in some secret little conference room, sharing the real tips of what they were doing. And when I learned this exercise about stories, I learned that came from a story that was built in me when I was 14 years old, when I found out that my best friend was spreading a horrible rumor around school about me to all of my other friends. And I found out about it from a third party. Now, that may not sound very traumatic, but to a 14-year-old girl, it's traumatic. And you guys, so I held on to this story that people weren't telling me the truth to my face and that they all were running off in some little corner. Okay, so here's the question I have. Is that story true? No, but the problem is that I believed it to be true. So on the day that I learned about this story breakthrough stuff, you guys, and I realized that story was going on in my head, I was actually in a room with a bunch of Arbonne leaders. And when I told them this story, they were all laughing hysterically going, "You are kidding me. You really think that?" And gone, the story was gone. So in order for the story to be gone, we have to first become aware of the stories. And that's why I ask you to think about, what do you hear yourself saying when you think about your vision and you think about your goals, and when you have to sit down and get to work every day and you're not doing it? If you know what you're supposed to be doing every day and you're not doing it, I want to ask you guys to become aware of what's going on inside your head right now. So first thing with stories and blockers is you have to be aware. Second thing is that we have to take an action step of some sort to break through that blocker, right? Because if we looked at the stories and we wrote them all out, and I were asked to ask you guys, are those stories really true? We would all probably go, no, they're not. Okay. So we have to change the story. So I started changing the story. I started telling myself, there is no secret. I know what I'm doing. I just need to have more fun at it. And so I stopped working so dang hard every day and I started having more fun. And you guys, you know what happened is I was stuck at the same level of Arbonne for 4 years, right before you earn the Mercedes thing. And as soon as I got rid of that story, I promoted up to the Mercedes driving level 3 months later. That's how powerful it is when you get rid of stories. So let me talk about blockers. In ULA, we talk about some emotional blockers that are going on, and I'm going to tell you the 7 of them, and you've got space at the bottom of that piece of paper to write these in. So here's the 7 blockers most of us are dealing with. And as I'm telling you these, circle the 2 that resonate with you the most right now. First blocker is fear. Second is guilt. Third is anger. Fourth is self-sabotage. Fifth is laziness. 6 is envy. And number 7 is focus. You have 2 that are just standing out.
Can you review those again for me?
Yes, sir. Fear, guilt, anger, self-sabotage, laziness, envy, and focus.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you guys, can you identify two that are speaking to you? Nikki, you want to share? Since you are like really shaking your head.
Self-sabotage and focus.
Thank you for being transparent. Anybody else have self-sabotage too? That's a pretty common one for most people. Yeah. And focus, you guys, focus is, again, what part of what we're doing today is helping you get clear on what you need to really be focused on and let go of the other stuff. It's getting rid of all the busyness.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share anything?
It might be self-sabotage, imposter syndrome.
Yes. That is a very real one, especially for people who are in the entrepreneurial space of speaking and coaching.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anybody else?
And was the fear, when you started talking fear of success, that's always been my big one, which I've probably eliminated 75% of it here just in the last couple of weeks, thanks to Ula. And the other one is, of course, is focusing, getting focused on the right things and having that discipline to get to it.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Awareness is the first key to everything, you guys. So we've got to be aware, what emotion are we having right now and what's the story? Second thing is, how do we break through that? Is you set some action steps in place to break through that barrier and start changing what you are hearing yourself say. Third thing is, it's the go. So it's ready, set, go. When you're breaking through a blocker, it's ready, be aware. Set is know the action you have to take. And 3 is you got to go. 20 seconds of brave. Take 20 seconds to just do the one thing you know you need to do to make the breakthrough. All right. So the next piece of paper that you guys have in your workbook, you guys, is you get to determine your own truth and what's real for you. Once you've identified some stories that are going on in your life and you know them to not be true, you can change what you're thinking and what you're believing, but you have to work at it. And that's why most people write affirmations. They write affirmations to retrain the brain. So instead of saying things like, I'm not a good leader, we start writing things like, I am an awesome leader and people respect me. The brain can be rewired, you guys, but it has to hear new messages on a regular basis. Some of those messages have been there a long time. Another really good book I would recommend to you guys is called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. This took some work for me, you guys, but it does work. All right. How's everybody doing? We are doing so good on time. Do we need to take a quick little 2-minute break?
No, let's keep going.
All right. Hang on one second. I'm going to get another cough drop.
Okay. Maybe I need a cough drop. Sorry.
Okay, guys. You can tell I've been talking a lot today. All right. Lisa, I'm so happy that you're here. Do you want to add anything to anything that I've said so far?
Yes, I was actually just messaging. It's so funny how networks overlap because Darcy and I know each other. So I'm messaging her. I'm like, how do you know Carrie? So we're over here having our conversation on text here. But No, this is so, so good. And I love that you figured this out at 27 because I was 40 when I finally stopped and asked that question. And I remember in my 30s, my husband coming home from a trip. He was in the military full time. And so I would be home for like up to a year at a time with just 3 kids. And so this one year he came home and he took us on a getaway and he had a whiteboard and he was ready to set goals and think about our vision and what do you want in 5 years? And I literally bawled the entire drive because I was like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what my goals are. When was the last time anyone ever asked me what I wanted, right? When was the last time I had time to think about me? When was, and I look back on that now that I know what I know now. And those were all excuses that I allowed to get in there. I could have, right, at that time done that. And I think we so often fall into that of just those circumstances around us. And so I think what you're hitting on here about this mindset is so, so key because there will always be something else. There'll always be another barrier. There'll always be another, something that gets in the way. And what's so interesting is the same circumstance can stop one person and can catapult the other person. And so really it's that choice. And so one of my favorite phrases I've been using lately is up until yesterday, and then fill in the blank, what it was that I was doing or wasn't doing. But now right? So it's kind of, I'm acknowledging like, here's who I was, but then I'm putting, like you said, that line in the sand and saying, okay, but now here's goal achieved Lissa. She knows where she's going. She knows what she's doing. And like Darcy was saying, here's what she's thinking, saying, acting, doing now, because that's what's going to get her to that goal achieved place 3 years from now.
So, so good. I'm so glad you're here, Lissa. So Lissa is a part of ULA with me, you guys. And not only are we using the tool and sharing the tool with other people, but we also now are certified ULA coaches teaching their system. So it's great to have a team, you guys. I'm a big believer in collaboration, especially with other really good coaches. So thank you. All right. So let's talk about goals, you guys. So we've got this great big 3-year, big, bold, beautiful vision that right now is inspiring us and at the same time kind of scaring us. Would we agree? So we got to bring it down. So how we're going to bring it down is we're going to start breaking into 1-year goals. All right. But here's 3 things you need to know when writing your goals and activities. I'm on that page if you guys are with me. The vision has to come first. The how, the game plan, all the tools, the resources come second. The vision has to be first. Number 2, we have to identify the real stories and blockers. And you're going to see why that is in a minute. Here's the problem. Most people on January 1st are going to write some really big goals, but they're not going to attack the obstacle. And with the goal comes an obstacle. What we have to do is identify the obstacle so we can break through that wall, or we're not going to hit the goal, which is by I don't even know what the statistic is, January 14th, right? 80% of the population have already given up. Okay. So we have to identify the real blockers. Third thing is character is infinitely more important than action. One of my favorite quotes is by Tom Barrett. If you can achieve the dream being the person you are today, the dream is not big enough. I think what scares people, and I love what you just said a minute ago, Darcy, about the person that you're growing into. A lot of times people look at the 3-year vision and it scares them because they see they need to make some personal changes in themselves. And that's really hard for a lot of people because, again, most people, not you guys, of course, are running around thinking it's not their fault. There's nothing wrong with them, right? And in the 2% world, we own what we need to own and take responsibility for what we need to change. That 1 month, you guys, that I lost all 3 of my key leaders, it was because of me. That was humbling. I had some really lovely people come up and say, we think it might be kind of how you're being right now. And I had to go, you know what? You're right. So character is important because we have to grow into the person that can receive that big, bold dream. And if you are already the person that can receive that big, bold dream, I'm going to tell you again enough, it's not big enough, because the whole purpose of life, you guys, is for us to stretch and grow every day.
Can I share something?
Yeah, Alyssa, please.
I'm going through another course at the same time of all about mindset. And they talk about A goals, B goals, and C goals. A goals are the ones that we've already done before. So say, for example, you want to lose 10 pounds. You've lost 10 pounds before. A no-brainer. You just have to make the decision to do it and do it, right? Like you don't have to really change a whole lot, just do it, right? So you know you can do those goals. A type B goal is one that you think you can do. So you haven't done it. Maybe that goal is to lose 50 pounds. And so maybe you've never lost 50, but you know, if I do this and this, if I go to the gym this many times, if I do this for breakfast, that, you know, like you can basically strategize it out on paper. So it feels safe, right? So that's still kind of a horizontal goal. And what I'm learning about is type C goals, or what you're talking about, where it's so far beyond anything I've ever done before. I would have to become a different person to be able to achieve and accomplish that goal. And I have no idea how in the world it's going to happen because I can't strategize it. Like you said, the vision comes first, the how comes afterwards. I can't lay it all out on paper, but those are the exciting goals. Those are the ones that drive you, that get you up every day because you are becoming that person on the journey to that type C goal.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Lisa. And here's the fun part about it, you guys. It keeps life fun because you just don't know where it's going to come from. This past weekend, I went to 2 events. I went together with my team to a 2-day event that ULA put on called ULA Palooza. It was 2 days of amazing, taking what we're doing here and learning how to take it to the next degree, which I'm going to tell you about at the end. And then I went from there to a 2-day speaker boot camp. Now, I went to the speaker boot camp thinking that I was going to be a speaker for the attendees because the woman running the speaker boot camp, we hired as a speaker coach this past year. And so she asked me to come to this boot camp and I thought I was going to train. What happened is I ended up going and being one of the attendees and getting critiqued on my speaking skills. And I was like, oh, okay, apparently I needed that. And I got stretched because I've been asking to be on bigger stages. And so God went, okay, if you want to be on bigger stages, we got to clean up some of what you're doing right now. I had to laugh through the whole 2 days, you guys going, wow, all right, I get it. Put it out there. It's so funny where it comes from and it keeps life really, really interesting. So, all right, you guys. So do you see now you have a page that looks like a cone? Remember, I told my friend to draw the circle and then the cone. So the cone is where we start breaking down your 3-year goals. So imagine your scoop is on top, your 3-year vision, and you've got 3 lines through your cone. So the first line down from your scoop, write 1-year goals. The middle line is 6 months. And the last line are 90 days. 90-day goals are magical, you guys. This is how people become successful in every area of their life is they set super focused 90-day goals. So all the way down to the tip of the cone, you guys, after you got those 90-day goals, then you know what you need to focus on this month. And if you know what your goal is for this month that you're focusing on, then you will know what it is you need to do each week. And if you know what you need to do each week, you need to know what you need to do when you get in your chair every single day or whatever goal it is you're setting daily. And if you're running a business, which I believe most of you are, it's very mathematical when it comes to increasing, especially the revenue in your business. It's all math. I know in both of my businesses what the income targets are for the year and what activity I need to do in order to hit those targets by the end of the year, each quarter, each month, each week. So I know every day, what is it that only I can do that's going to help move the needle forward a little bit every day. And when you start using the ULA tool, not only do they have the website, the digital platform that you get to go in and put in your dream life and all these goals, you get a compatible app that you put in those 3 action steps that you're going to take each day and you tick them off and it keeps track for you so that you see how you're doing. Super cool. So we start setting some goals. So what do goals look like? Have you guys heard of the acronym SMART, S-M-A-R-T? Okay. It needs to be super specific. simplistically written and clearly defined. It needs to be measurable, meaning it needs quantitative numbers on stuff. It needs to be attainable. It should stretch you so that you feel challenged, but the steps to achieve it are attainable. Same thing with realistic. It should stretch you so you feel challenged, but you can achieve it. And it needs to be time bound, which means you have to have dates on things. This is the game changer that most people do not do. They don't put dates on things. So remember when I told you guys I stepped into Arbonne, I was 5 months pregnant with my daughter. My son was 2. I was still working full time and hated that he was in daycare. And so when I stepped into Arbonne, I sat down with the one and only Mercedes driving VP in Colorado, in the state of Colorado at the time, because this was 1994. And I told her, I said, okay, I'm in for the long haul. I want to go all the way to the top. I want the residual income. I want to earn the trips. I want to be a leader. I want to help change other people's lives. But my first goal is to get my son out of daycare and quit my job when this baby's born. So quantitatively, she was able to show me where I needed to be in Arbonne, what level, because that income at that level was going to allow me to quit my job, get my son out of daycare and stay home. So once we had the target, which was 90 days, because that baby was coming, these need to be non-negotiable dates, you guys, not something you can move, non-negotiable date, baby was coming. She told me, this is how many people you need to get in front of every single month, every single week, every single day in order to hit that target. It was all math. Same thing with my speaking and coaching business. I know how many people I need to talk to every quarter in order to introduce them to ULA, bring them into my 10-week coaching, whatever it is. You guys follow me? What I'm saying is that we have to have quantifiable numbers with dates. And the dates need to be super important, or guess what? We'll just let it go. We'll go, oh, well, didn't happen. I'll do it next month. This is what's happening with, again, 98% of the population right now. Oh, well, didn't hit the goal. That's all right. I'll do it next year. I pretty much guarantee you with that mentality, they're not going to hit it because they're already thinking. They've created a pattern. You see what I'm saying? So we have to get specific. And there's just one example here that I gave you guys to show you in the category of fitness and health. We set a goal, lose 15 pounds by a certain date. What's the obstacle? Lack of consistency, or you can put in one of the blockers in there that we mentioned, or put in your own story, right? When I did this years ago and we were talking about this specific goal somebody had in the room, they were saying, I want to lose weight. Okay, that is not a SMART goal. So we had to make it specific, how many pounds and by when. By the way, don't use the words I want, I'm trying, and I'm hoping. Those are wishy-washy words. The next thing we had to identify was the real obstacle. So she started giving us some of the outside circumstances that she thought were the real obstacles. She said, well, I work like 50, 60 hours a week, so I just don't have the time. Usually the two biggest excuses in life, you guys, is time and money, by the way. I don't have the time. So I said to her, and I asked everybody else in the room, how many of you guys know people who have lost weight and are super healthy that are the busiest people you know? They get the exercise in, and we all agreed, yes, we know those people. So we pretty much told her your story is not true. The other thing I asked her is, what do you think is another obstacle? And she said, I don't have the money to join a gym. So again, I asked the group, how many of you guys know people who are really, really fit and don't belong to a gym? And we all agreed, yes, we know those people. Now more than ever, you guys. I mean, how many free apps can you download and work out at home, right? So we got rid of all of those. And I asked her, what is it that when you think about losing the weight, you are telling yourself? And she said, everybody in my family has always been overweight. And so I don't think I can actually really do it. We got to the real story. So once we identified the real blocker, she got to go to work at setting some goals to break down that story. She's never going to lose the 15 pounds, you guys. We could have told her a million different ways. Join a gym, get on this diet, stop eating this, all those things. None of it would have mattered unless we identified the real obstacle and had her go to work on breaking that down. You following what I'm saying, you guys? So when you go to work at creating some action steps, you start creating some action steps that are not only doable with what you're working with circumstantially, like we have here, but you're also going to work at changing your mindset. So I told her, you need to change your mindset around it. What's one thing? And we all gave her a lot of ideas of what things she could do to change that story. And one of the things I told her was, can you get yourself in like a free meetup group of a bunch of people who don't work out in gyms, they go on hikes or something, they have a whole different mindset around exercise. Can you start reading, positive affirmations around being fit? See what I'm getting at is this is what I was saying to you guys earlier that I was going to tell you as to why people will set resolutions on January 1 and they will never hit them, is because they are not identifying what's really in the way. That's what we have to work on. So can you take a minute, you guys, and I just want you to pick one of the 7 categories that I gave you that is standing out to you the most, that you want to set a SMART goal around for 2022. Can you take just a couple of minutes and write one down? All right. How's everybody doing? Does anybody want to be brave and share their goal?
Sure, I will.
All right, Mike, thank
I
you.
lose 10 pounds in the next 30 days.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Any blockers, obstacles, stories?
Yeah, part of it is, I go to eat at my son's house every Sunday night, and they love fat, salt, and anything that's so my main thing there that I need to do is I need to have self-control when I eat there.
Okay.
And that's something I'm going to put in place, is to have self-control and just eat a portion, and that's enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what could be 3 little things that you could do to make sure that you have the self-control?
Well, number 1 would be to include that in my daily affirmations.
Okay.
I read affirmations every morning. And so to include that in there, and then sitting down at the table is to set an intention right then and there that, I'm only going to eat this amount, this portion, and
Yep.
then leave the table. Or do the other thing.
Yeah, great. Have you communicated with your son's family that you're on this goal?
No, not yet. That will be.
I would say the first thing that popped into my mind is you need to tell them what you're doing
Yeah.
so that they support you in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they won't support me, but my wife will.
Okay.
Because
Good.
they're not concerned about health.
Okay.
But still, if
Gotcha.
you tell them and you get up and you leave the table, they'll know why you're leaving the table.
Oh, I will do that. Yeah, I will do that. Yep.
Yeah.
One of the
I would-
things that I just mentioned to a friend of mine, if you don't mind me saying, is that I told her to get a full glass of water, and after each bite, take take a big gulp of water because it makes you more full. But also when she sits down, have a salad plate instead of a regular plate, so you can only have that portion size. And then just eat what's on that salad plate instead of like a larger plate, because then it just seems like you want to take more, but it won't fit on a salad plate unless it's like mounding over.
Great tips.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thanks.
Thank you, Mike. All right. Anybody else want to share a goal?
Mine is to get organized.
Okay, so let's talk about this being a SMART goal. All right. Okay, getting organized, kind of vague. So can you make it
My-
more specific, Darcy?
Yes, organized as in all of the, I have an app that I have wanted to put all of my customers in, all of the people in my whole organization in, and organize them in a way that I can communicate to them more effectively. And it just seems like when I get up in the morning, I'm like Secretariat. And and if that isn't on my agenda first thing in the morning, then it's just go and communicating with anybody and everybody that I can, talk to and so forth. And then all of a sudden, then my day is gone and I still haven't done it. And I still haven't done it. And I still haven't done it every single day. I think about it every single day, but it just seems like I love communicating and talking to so many people, but if I just took one day to, or a portion of each day to do that when we have specials or when we have something else, that I need to communicate to different sections of my business, then it would help so much.
You know what I love about this goal, Darcy, is it links to what you were saying earlier about the person that you want to become for that team.
Right. And I know that it is exactly, that
they're linked.
Holding back. Yeah.
Yes. Because in order to stay balanced and have that large of a team, this is one of those areas you have to kind of get under control, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we need to make this more specific. So it needs to have some numbers. So I would write something like, I am going to get all 50 of my customers into the app by December 31st, 2021.
Yes.
Not
At
the
least
set.
at least 50 into there.
Okay. But we got to put some numbers on it to start, right?
Yes.
And you
Or
got to
like 25 a day. 25
Okay.
a day. I will put in maybe from each category, something like that.
And you're going to have them all in by when?
It would be great to have them all in by December 31st.
It's your choice, but you got to have a non-negotiable date.
Yeah. Yeah, because then that would, it would be just such an moment.
Well, I will tell you what more it's going to be for you. You're going to step into the new year, a whole different person getting ready to manage the next level. You're going to go.
Right.
You're the only person standing in the way of that, Darcy, right?
Yeah.
And do you see, you guys, why I keep pushing the dates? Because without the dates, guess what happens? It's not going to happen.
And I've had to do it since the beginning, of the company, a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I understand.
Well,
We can
you-
all relate, can't we, guys? We can all relate to what we push things off, right? And that's why I keep saying over and over, the vision is great. but you've got to have non-negotiable dates on things and has to be done. So look at it this way, Darcy, if you worked for somebody and your paycheck relied on you getting that done, or I was going to fire you on January 1st, right? Look at it that way if you have to.
Right. And I usually look at it like that, because I always, tell somebody, I can't do your business for you. And if you were, given a thriving Starbucks store and you had to, be there and show up every day and turn the light on, what would that look like for you?
Right.
And so I need to,
You need to
kind
be
of
the,
like you just did, say,
Yep.
have that be more of the employee mindset rather than the owner mindset,
Yeah.
and as an employee, what are my tasks every single day that I need to show up versus the owner. The owner has certain things and, I'm getting all the people in. Now I have to shift and do the employee minded and do just like you said.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for playing.
And one thing I thought of is if you're saying, well, 25 per day will get me there by the end of the year, you might have to say 25 current clients need to be put in every day.
Oh,
But in-
sorry. I can't hear you real well. Say that one more time.
You might have to change it up a little bit to say, if 25 current clients I put in every day, but for every new client, they have to be put in that day.
Yeah, that would be another
You're
category.
not growing your database, right?
Yeah, like customers and, people on my team, frontline, and
Yep.
different lines and, potential customers, all of that. So each category would have 25 a day, which would be perfect.
Yeah.
So thank you.
So that's the category of field that we're talking about, you guys. That would be a goal in the category of field and career. So anybody else want to share a goal?
I'll share a goal.
Okay, Deborah.
All right. So I put down I did join ULA. So I'm going to put go gold in 3 months. So I actually have 2 more months. So go gold in two more months, the end of February, I believe.
Okay.
The obstacle would be consistency and belief, because I've been in network marketing for years and not successful. 3 action steps would be to speak to 3 to 5 people daily. The daily affirmations, and communicate my goal clearly to my family, because they say, oh, here she goes again.
Mm-hmm.
Something
So-
different. So
Great action steps. What do you think a blocker is, Deborah, that's going to stop you from doing that?
well, I definitely in the other session I said focus, because I could just sit there and do some art, right? But it's so easy now with this just at my fingertips, and yeah,
Mhm.
it's really kind of cool. And then really belief that that it is possible. Like other people are going to want what I want, and that is to move yourself
Mhm.
forward. The thing I like about this is I joined a business where it's all about the person individually. It's not selling soap or makeup or anything. So it's really a game changer, I think.
Mhm.
So I put all my art goals in there, and yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Because you said this earlier, Deborah, I'm going to say this to you, my friend. I think a
ahead.
blocker for you is hanging on to the past
Yeah.
and letting all that go. Right? Yeah.
Mhm.
And watch your
So
words when
I
you talk
have
about. Yeah, when you say you're
Yeah,
not
I have
successful. Yeah.
I have started doing lives, which is pushing me into the spotlight.
Great.
And that's really pushing me, because I'm hosting a retreat with a friend in January here in Phoenix, just an overnight. And it's super fun. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Awesome. Thank you for unmiking and sharing that. I appreciate your vulnerability, you
Yeah.
guys. So are you getting the gist of what we're doing here, you guys? Number one, you have to think big, long-term, because time ticks. And I don't know about you guys. I unfortunately have learned the hard way that we are not promised tomorrow. And we play that game thinking we've got all the time in the world, and we just don't. You just do not know what tomorrow's going to bring. And I do not want to leave this planet leaving behind a mess that my family has to clean up, or undone purpose, or dying with regret, right? I just can't think of anything sadder than that. So what we did was we created that 3-year thing so that you could bring it down into 1 year. So you can start getting more clear on, okay, what's 1 year in each category. And then out of each category, you're identifying the ones that are just super standing out to you. Like, these are the non-negotiables. And what's going to happen is you're going to find, when you break it all the way down, is you're going to have one that's going to stand out the most. The one goal that you know that if you didn't do any of the other goals, but you did that one goal, it affects everything else in your life. In ULA, we call it ULA 1. Your ULA 1. So got to identify what's keeping you stuck, what's real. Be real about it. You guys, don't use your outside circumstances. Be real about what's going on inside you. And get super clear on the non-negotiable dates. Set dates around something that's really important to you. My 60th birthday is next May. I just can't even believe those words are coming out of my mouth as I say it. And I have some pretty big goals I want to hit by my 60th birthday. And turning 60 on May 6th is non-negotiable. I can't move that. Makes sense to you guys? Okay, was this helpful for you today?
Yes.
Great. What's the one takeaway, real quick, that you're taking away, Mary?
I've got to really focus in on all of the F's so that they're more concrete for my 1 year plan, well, my 3-year plan and my 1 year plan, and keep diving down.
Great. Awesome. Mike, what is it that you took away from today?
Oh, I've got a structure. I got a plan. So a way to narrow things down with the ice cream cone.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Jana? What's your one takeaway from you guys today?
I would say it's applying the SMART principle, because I tend to not be as specific and time frame oriented as I should. So I think that's going to make a difference.
Yep, it will. Awesome. What about you, Barbara? What's your one takeaway?
Well, I had multiples, but the biggest one is, for me, is to set the dates. Because I've just always I'm in a unique situation where my hubby takes care of all the other bills. So I get to play, if you will, at what I want to do. And so I've never really set dates beyond, oh, it would be nice. So now setting dates for me is like going to be more impactful and give me a bit more discipline and focus than I've had before.
And so what are you going to do with the income you're going to be making when you set those dates that only you can pay for?
Oh, well, my biggest goal right now is to pay for my daughter's college in 6 years. So that's the big one, on top of just the normal, hey, pay off the credit cards, pay off as many of the loans as we can that we have. I mean, that's the base. And of course, travel, because you got to have fun and do things.
Yeah.
And my daughter is just, she's an art fanatic. So being able to travel to all the different, totally love to go to the Louvre and a whole bunch of other places that, has all that fun art.
Hey, you've got some definite non-negotiable dates with some big numbers.
Big.
Yep. Awesome. What about you, Nikki? What's your one biggest takeaway?
But I actually have to write it down.
Thank you. That's awesome. All right, Melissa, how about you?
Reiterates to me, quit asking how. A lot of people ask why. I ask how. How am I going to do that? How does that happen?
Right.
And I need to get that through my head.
Yep. The how will come after, my friend. I promise you. Awesome. Marjorie, what's your one takeaway today?
Well, for me, as you know, my life has taken a sudden turn. And so I have an affirmation that I wake up every morning. I am healthy, wealthy, and wise. And my goal is are shorter term right now, because I have a lot of projects that need to be deadlined.
Yeah.
As you know. Yeah. And so my goal for today is to finish trimming the Christmas tree. That was my goal for this weekend.
Okay.
So I'm doing short-term goals, but I'm accomplishing them.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank
I
you.
understand. You're in the grief process and I totally get it.
Yep.
I'm glad you were here.
So much.
Yeah. All right, Darcy, what's one takeaway today?
Definitely be more employee minded and in setting the dates for sure.
Awesome.
And because that, you know, the smaller tasks that will, you know, get off of my plate and so forth. And I just need to set a clear, precise date, get it done and move on and be able to, it just will free up my plate where it's something that's over me every single day. So that would be great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Glad you're here. Deborah, I know that you've shared some of your ahas. Thank you. And Lisa, thank you for being here today. You want to share an aha for today?
I just think the whole idea that we're never done growing, right? That we're on this journey always to keep raising that bar and to keep going and keep growing and keep going deeper and to keep pushing and be surrounded by people like this. This is what gets us, you know, keeps us moving.
True. So true. Awesome. I'm glad that I added value to your life today. And as I told you guys at the beginning, and I've sprinkled throughout this presentation, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this tool called ULA. Is anybody here not familiar with ULA at all? Mike's not? Okay, Garcia. Okay. I'm going to give you a little snippet, and then in the chat, I'm going to give you a link to a video that you can watch that'll tell you a little bit about ULA. Basically, ULA is a digital platform, like I mentioned, that takes what we just did here and like 10x's it. So you get to go in to the tool once you become a member, and it will ask you in the 7 F's, the 7 categories, 10 questions. So it will identify how you're doing in that area. And so once that sees kind of where you've got you guys familiar with the wheel of life? Have you done the wheel where you've got yeah. So once it sees where there's an area, you've got a dent in your wheel, so to speak, like in mine, when I did it, it was in the area of fun. It helped me start prioritizing my goals so that I worked in the areas that I needed to really work on the most. Because as humans, what we want to do is work in the areas that we're comfortable in, we're having more fun at. But pumping up the tire in the areas that you're already good still makes a really weak tire. So it helped me prioritize my goals. And then it started sending me short little modules that I could watch to have some breakthroughs in those areas. And again, I got them sent to me in order of priority. So the first module I got was in the area of fun. So once I set the goals, you guys, and I had the framework built, I could download the app, the compatible app that lets me put in my 3 most important action steps of the day, and I can tick them off every night. And it tracks how I'm doing. So it's kind of gamified. So it tells you, if you've done like 7 days in a row, good job, you've done a streak, the whole thing. So if nothing else, having a membership to ULA is a no-brainer as a tool, you guys, because the tool is only $47 a month to use it. One time $77 setup fee, and then $47 a month after that. Right. And I have a link that I can give you guys. Let me give you this video real quick that you can take. That if I invited you here, if you were my guest here, you're going to want to use my link so that you can get your membership set up. All right. There's also some other pieces to ULA. There is an income stream to ULA. I am choosing to share ULA with other people. Obviously, I'm doing that now. So I am now also an ULA ambassador, which means when I share ULA with other people, there's another stream of income for me. So I'm building a team with that of other people who want to be ambassadors and use the tool alongside what they're already doing. And then, as I mentioned, you guys, there's the coaching certification program part of it, where I now am certified to bring people into a 10-week group coaching so that I can handhold them through this process more. So that 10-week group, I have one kicking off again in January. And it's meant for people who are like, okay, I know I can do this, but I'm going to need somebody who can really hold me accountable, help me make my breakthroughs and my blockers that I need to make, be with a tribe of people who are doing the same thing. I love group coaching, you guys. I see people make major breakthroughs when they're in a group all working on the same stuff. So if that interests you, I am now opening up that group, and the first 10 people who come in as my clients, I'm going to bonus you one of my VIP strategy sessions, like I told you that I did this morning with my clients, where I help them map out their business plan for the year. It's $1,000 value that I'm throwing in for free for people who decide they want to be in my 10-week group kicking off in January. So if you know that's you, shoot me an email. I'll make sure you get the information on that group and make sure you get that bonus that I'm giving you. And if you want to know more about the coaching certification for yourself too, email me and I'll let you know more about that. But if nothing else, I hope that you guys at least check into the membership and start using the tool, because like I said, it's phenomenal. And these guys, the founders who created ULA, are two of the most amazing men on the planet. So you guys have any questions, any last minute ahas or anything you want to ask me? Well, good.
I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation, for
You're
sure.
welcome, Darcy. I look forward to you and I chatting some more.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Well,
it was great seeing everybody, new faces and so forth, and also with Lisa. It's great.
Love it. Love it. I appreciate you guys spending your Saturday afternoon with me in a busy season. I know that's not easy to do. And I do hope we stay connected, and that whatever reason, if I don't ever see you again, that I added value to your life today. And you promised me, right, that pinky swear, Boy Scouts honor, that you guys are going to write the 3-year letter.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so very much. I appreciate each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your weekend, you guys.
Have a good weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.